Hello everyone and welcome back to Bitwig Studio and Music Production. This is lesson 5.08, and in this lesson we're going to take a look at the EClap instrument that comes bundled with Bitwig Studio. Much like the EKick and the ETom, the EClap is very simple to use, and really we only have to spend a couple minutes talking about it because it's divided very much like what we've already seen in our previous examples with instruments. We have a couple of different settings here. With the EKick, we have like the generator and the pitch mod. With the EClap, we have the noise element, and then we have the color, which is really just an extension of the noise. So we'll take a look at it. We'll just come up with a few different sounds we can make using it. And then we'll go through a few of the presets so you can just hear exactly what this is capable of. Feel free to, on your own, mess around and see what you can come up with. So let's just record enable this guy, take a quick listen. I'm just going to turn velocity sensitivity off. All right, so that's what it sounds like by default. Let's start by taking this color and pulling it all the way down, see what that does. Almost makes it completely silent. Okay, what if we mess with this Q? How is that going to impact it? So if you can't hear that difference, this is very similar to what we have with an EQ. If we have an EQ5 here and we'll just use number 2 here. This is our Q setting right here. So right now our frequency is down at 8.81 hertz, which you're not really even going to be able to hear. I can't even go that low on the EQ5. But let's pull it up to something that I could use. Maybe like, I don't know, 41. I could go in here, change this to 41, and then I have my Q setting. So right now we're all the way at the bottom. As I pull that up, same exact thing, only this is focusing on and impacting the noise. So this little color is basically like a little EQ spike that you can make, all right? So let's listen to how that works. So you can really hear that bass. You can really hear that 41. If we go up really high, of course, it's going to have a very piercing effect. It's going to also drive everything nuts here. Right, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Let's go ahead and just get something pretty neutral. And let's talk about the noise generator section here. So we have a decay, and as you'd expect, that's going to impact the length of the actual clap itself. We have this repeat, which very much works like a super, super quick delay. So we're going to start to get kind of like a Hasse effect at certain settings up to a point where we can actually hear a definitive repeat of the sound itself. So I'll show you that now. You can hear how it's getting pushed out wider. Now I'm starting to hear that actual repeat. And again, that's specific to like the decay time parameter. We have the repeat duration, which is going to impact how long this repeat occurs. So if I go all the way up to 31.6, this will give us a good idea. We're getting close to a hi-hat sound here. So right there, we've pretty much come up with a hi-hat sound. We can even emphasize that. Let's see if I can find a good spot. So just like that, we came up with a hi-hat, but that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to actually come up with some clap sounds. So let's see what we're able to do here. Pull this back to a pretty nice default position. And obviously width, as you'd expect, totally mono. All the way out, pushing out at the sides there. All right, so we'll go to something. So to not get that sort of taily sound, you got to make sure you dial in this decay, right? Too long and you're going to always get that tail. Okay, so that's kind of realistic to an actual clap. It's not perfect, but you guys get the idea there. All you have to do is just jump in here and tweak around to your heart's content. Again, you can set velocity if you want. If you have a keyboard, you could set velocity to like this frequency. That would be something pretty cool you can mess around with. And then if you entered things in at different velocities, you'd obviously get some of that variation. All right, simple as pie. The last thing I wanted to show you, just a couple of these presets in here. In the case of the EClap, we actually get at least one preset, which isn't just trying to emulate a clap sound, so that's pretty cool. Let's go through here. The one I'm thinking of is Electroshock. Let's take a listen to this. And you can tell this one doesn't have any effects being added. And this one's pretty cool to modulate the frequency on. I wonder what that would sound like if we add a resonator bank after it. So pretty cool. We also obviously have some classic clap sounds in here. They're trying to emulate a bunch of different drum machine clap sounds, and really, you get some really nice things in here. Here's a two-person clap. Some other cool things. One thing that I would recommend you do with all of these devices and all of these instruments is when you load up the presets, see what they drop in the little effects box, because you're going to start to see some consistencies. With something like the clap, where you have a noise parameter, which again specifically is talking about white noise, which is pretty much the same amount of amplitude across the entire frequency spectrum, so all the way from 20 to 20, they're going to have a whole lot of frequency dependent effects. So the ladder filter, again, this helps to control the frequency spectrum. And you can mess around with that. And then, of course, distortion also is a frequency-based effect that's going to add some additional spikes in our frequency spectrum at different places. All right, so that's going to do it for my explanation of the EClap. Get in there, mess around, see what you can come up with. Until the next lesson, take care.